Hey, this is Ed again, still working on Victoria's ring. We got the stone. I'm going to set this aside someplace because it gets mumbled jumbled with a lot of stuff. Let me set it right there for a while so it's kind of up and out of the way. Put this away. Don't need that anymore. Oh well, I get it. But this is a tool, a nice tool I'll use. It's a bending tool. It's kind of, if you those who are familiar with sheet metal or wire wrapping or stuff like that will know how something like this will be very valuable. I've kind of preset it to a width apart, just for time's sake, so that I know that I can get a good grip on the silver, but not crimp it too much, so it gets distorted. And when we begin to shape it, we got to look at, okay, this is, I want it to wrap around the inside of the stone. So when I look at the inside of the stone, I want to make sure I have the right radius when I shape it. And when I put this up there, it does capture the very tip of it pretty well, for both sides of the stone. So I'm okay with using this tool or this diameter to begin to work with. So I'm going to attempt to wrap it around this. I know it's got to come down the stone a ways, so I don't need to have the radius until probably a quarter to 5/8 up on the silver itself, like begin to turn that radius. So all I'll do is just hold it and kind of wrap it right around there like that. Then I'm always beginning to look at it and say, okay, if I was to sit that on this, how does it look? And I can see, okay, it's pretty much there. I can begin now to where the apex of this radius is. I can begin to bend it more and more down, further down these arms, to form those shapes well. Okay, so something like this. Okay, so I've got one side pretty good. This side over here needs to be clearly a little bit more turned over. So I'm going to try to attempt to do that again here. Yeah, okay, so now I'm going to begin to create the other radius. Right about there. Okay, it's a little large, but no worries, because I still got there, and I can begin to fold it down there. Something like that. Okay, so I think I've got it pretty close to where I can begin to cut it. I know it's larger than what I need, so I'm thinking if I cut further up on it, or cut this back a little bit, because this is got, you can see it's really straight right there, and I want to maintain this constant ellipse and radius. So I may cut this back, but I need to cut this in first. So let me get my snips. These are great for cutting wire, nice and straight, and they make a really nice clean cut. And what I do is I want to cut this back a little bit too. Okay, well that piece, oh there, here it is. Sometimes they go bing and go someplace else. I never find it, but I did find it, so I could put it right here. Collection. So I'm thinking now this is going to be pretty good. I can see it's a little bit larger, but when I bring those two edges closer together, it'll tighten up in that ellipse and be something that I'm liking. And if it's not, then I can always take off a little bit more material and do it more and more and more. So I need to finish shaping this. I want to get those edges nice and straight. You can see the cut lines from the shears. But usually they cut pretty straight because that's what they're designed to do, to have a nice straight edge on them, but and a narrow cut so it doesn't force down. But you can see on the snippets they do have that little bezel cut right there, and that's what's pushy. It'll push down the metal through there. So normally what I do is I'll file that down, or rely on it being a well for a soldering well. But then you'd want to make that kind of indentation all the way around it, and that's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to file those down and then try to shape it using a lot of different pliers, these pliers, and hammer to get it to be in the where the two ends will connect. We'll solder it, and then from that point on, it's just a matter of just shaping the whole form back into a nice ellipse, and then annealing it and hammering it down, and annealing it, anneal it back and forth until I get it to the design that I had drawn out, or at least to the outer edge of that design. But the idea is that when I have it and it's nicely hammered out, there'll be a nice seat for the stone, and also allow the viewer, the user of the ring, to turn the ring off and look through the stone, which is really important because we went through a lot of trouble picking the stone and assuring its translucency, so that you want to be able to see that and play with that over time and enjoy that for the rest of your life. So I'm going to try to hammer these closer together and bring them more in shape and file the edges so that the tool will be flat and aligned. Before I file it, I do want to get the two ends as close as I can get, so I get a flat edge file in there and file both edges parallel to each other, and so that when they solder together, those two ends will fit real nice and tight. Okay, so that'll be my next mission.